If you've ever felt like traditional wedding planning just didn't quite fit, you're not alone. Elopements historically were more of a shotgun wedding or done out of necessity from society. But elopements today come from not wanting less of their wedding day or not caring about their wedding day. It comes from wanting to be more aligned with who you are. For me personally, I planned a wedding that was traditional, that was basically done for my family and my friends, and feeling like pressure to conform with society and give my family the wedding that I thought they deserved. I felt pressure to meet obligations and expectations, whether these were real or not. I felt like I owed it to my family and to my friends and society to have a normal wedding. And looking back, I realized that that was a mistake. I see now that when couples choose differently and choose to elope in the way they want, it's actually very special and very meaningful. Having my own wedding experience has shaped how I help couples plan and how I photograph elopements, because I know what it feels like to move through a wedding day that doesn't quite fit. And I also know how different it feels when couples give themselves permission to do things their own way. That own wedding experience, it taught me how much pressure exists in a traditional wedding and how freeing it is when that pressure is removed. That's why I build elopement days around space and not pressure, around time together, not rushing from one thing to the next. I care less about those perfectly posed moments, even though those are important to have as well, but those less important things about having them perfectly posed or the perfect photos. It's more about how you remember it and how you feel when you're living it. I don't want your wedding day to be a regret. That's why I think elopements are so special, because they are about choosing alignment. Alignment with who you are, how you want to spend your time, and what actually matters to you on your wedding day. When couples choose to elope intentionally, it creates space for things that often get lost in traditional weddings. People have time, real time together, rather than just seeing each other for the moment and being pulled away for their family members or other obligations. It gives you space to slow down and not rushing through a very tight schedule or always being late and behind. It gives you space to be present. So you're not thinking about the timeline, other people's expectations, or performing for anybody, like who's watching you. During an elopement day, it's great because you're not hosting an event. You're not managing other people's emotions, and you're not trying to make the day look a certain way for somebody else. Instead, the focus shifts back to what the day should be about: your relationship, your connection, and starting a marriage that feels honest and intentional. So this philosophy is exactly why I photograph elopements the way that I do. I don't approach them as like a short event or even a quick ceremony with photos around it. I approach them as a full day and sometimes even multi-day events or experiences. When you give yourself a full day, everything shifts. There's no rushing from one thing to the next, no squeezing meaningful moments into tiny windows of time. Instead, there's space. Space to settle in, space for real conversations, space for moments that aren't planned but end up being the most meaningful. And while having timelines are important, so you can make sure that you can get everything into your day, I try to avoid rigid timelines that are packed full. I like to have space in my timelines so that people can breathe and have moments and intentionality with each other. I think that most of those beautiful moments don't happen on cue, and so having a little space to breathe is important. They happen especially when couples feel relaxed and present and they're just themselves. So as an elopement photographer, my job is more than just showing up with my camera. While it is important, again, to take beautiful photos, because that's what we want, I also act as a guide. I help you plan a day that flows naturally. I recommend locations and experiences that help the day become like the most epic day of your life. I build in breathing room and make sure that the day supports connection instead of stress. And while photography is something that I do deliver, my main focus is really how the day feels while you're living it. My goal is to take care of my couples so that planning is exciting and not stressful, and the day of is epically fun and seems like you, and that when you look back on your experience together, it's with joy. The only regret that I want you to have at the end of it is that it came to an end. So, If you're dreaming about a wedding that feels less like a performance and more like a meaningful experience, this channel is here to help you imagine what is possible.